I'm here with Nicolas today, and we have again some Nikon cameras with us, and we want to talk about 7 a bit more hidden features that can really help in some situations when you're taking images or when you want to review and assess if the image is correctly exposed or go through the most important or best images of the day. Just some settings that make your life easier. Nicolas, you want to start with the first one?
So especially in recent times, I've started to shoot more just totally manually. So meaning I not only set the aperture and the shutter speed, but also the ISO. Especially if the light is kind of constant, so you have some clouds, it just generally tends to be a bit easier if the background changes a lot. So for birds in flight, sometimes you have the sky in the background, but then you also have some trees. And then if you have the ISO on automatic, it changes quite quickly, right?
Yeah.
So by just setting everything manually, it stays constant and you're kind of easier. It's a lot easier to photograph. However, if you photograph with the 400mm 2.8 or also with a zoom lens like the 180 to 600, when you zoom or swap in teleconverter, the average changes from 2.8 or 5.6 to 6.3 or 4.0. And by that, I kind of change the exposure, right?
Yeah.
So instead, what I can do is in the menu system under B7, you can keep the exposure while changing aperture. And then you can either set it from off to ISO or to shutter speed. And by that, it changes the ISO to compensate for the light loss, or it changes also the shutter speed.
Yeah, we would highly recommend to set the ISO and not the shutter speed, because most of the time we select the shutter speed that we think is necessary for the situation. And furthermore, if you zoom in from 180 to 600 millimeters, this would mean that the camera would actually select a longer shutter speed, and that's basically the opposite of what would make sense. I have also one that is for me important for birds in flight, and that is basically to register and then recall shooting configuration. And this means if I'm taking pictures of a perched bird, maybe I'm in a forest, there is not a lot of light, so I want to keep my image quality as good as possible, and this means I keep the ISO at a reasonable level. Now, if I see there is action going on, maybe 2 birds start to fight, or I see that one will soonish fly away and I want to take a flight shot, I can put or kind of recall a different set of settings by the press of one button. And there is 2 ways how you can configure this. You can either set that you need to press and hold the button, and only as long as you hold it, these new settings are active. Or the other one, which is if the camera, it's called hold. This means that the camera will hold the settings, not that you need to hold the button. Then it's basically with the press of a button, you just toggle between the 2 different settings, and you can also change the settings in between if you want.
So what I really like about this function is that you can also set it to different use cases. So for me, especially when I photograph birds in flight, I like to be able to quickly change the settings to be able to do like panning shots, meaning I use, instead of a fast shutter speed, I use, for example, 1/30th of a second. So I have some movement in the frame, but I also need to change the aperture. And changing that with the dials takes some time. So instead I just press button and then changes, so I can quickly change between those 2 kind of imaging ideas.
Unfortunately, this setting is not available with all cameras. It's limited to the Z9, Z8, and the Z6 Mark III with the newest firmware.
So the next setting that we can look at is the view mode, and it's basically available for all the cameras. And it's kind of helpful, especially when you're photographing in different or difficult lighting situations, especially backlight.
Yeah, I imagine like last year when we were in Norway and we took pictures of these Arctic terns in backlit, and we didn't have a bright background, but quite a dark one because it was in the shadow, and we had a super low-key image in the end where we just saw kind of the rims of the birds, and it's very hard in these situations, especially if you have flying birds, to somehow keep them in the image, and even harder to compose it properly. So
yeah, the problem is kind of that, I mean, usually it is kind of an advantage that the mirrorless cameras kind of show the settings of your exposure. So if you underexposed accidentally, you kind of see it in the viewfinder. But if you actually on purpose expose on the dark side, you just cannot see anything in the picture. And if you found the bird, then it's you can just stay on the bird, but if it's moving, if there's a bird in flight and it's super underexposed, it's just kind of tricky to find. So the option is here that under in the menu under D10 to change the view mode to optimize for ease of view, I think it's called. And by that you kind of decouple the settings from the exposure and the view brightness, basically.
You can put this, for example, on one of the button that you can toggle between these two different modes. And I like to have it, and I have my camera set up in this way. However, you need to be careful. I know that you don't like it so much, and I also need to say that it happened to me in the past that I forgot to turn it off again after. I like the toggle of a button because I can go back and forth. So I can first basically set the exposure and then press the button, and then I have this ease of view mode, and then I can track the birds properly. And when I think the light might have changed a little bit, I can quickly press the button again, see if the exposure is still fine, and go back to the other mode. It's displayed in the upper left corner of the viewfinder, but it's quite small to see which view mode you have. So I think you have another way, a bit safer way maybe.
Yeah, so I mean, I sometimes also kind of switch between those with the press of a button, but I think especially if you start out with this function, it's a bit easier if you use it the eye menu, and there you kind of have to intentionally change the view mode, and by that you kind of memorize a bit more that I changed that setting, and now I need to be wary of the accidents that could happen if you see the image is bright through the viewfinder, but you want to underexpose, and then you change the compensation and then you change again, and then when you look at the image it's totally dark. So if you kind of do that intentionally, you kind of know now it's a different mode. So I think to start out it might be better to use the eye menu there.
The next setting that we both changed is the high FPS viewfinder. Basically, just it has a higher frame rate or higher refresh rate of the viewfinder of 120 Hertz or 120 frames per second. And this just makes it much easier to follow fast flying birds, especially when they are flying a bit erratically. There's, I think, only one downside to this, and that's battery life. But
one note here is that it's only available for the Z6 Mark III, Z8 and Z9. The other ones just have a viewfinder of 60 Hertz.
Yeah. And you should be able to find this setting in D22 or similar, depending on the camera.
So if you take a lot of images, you're out for a day or two, and I mean lots of images can happen quite quickly if you photograph at 20 frames per second. When you get back at the computer and then you have thousands of images, you can quickly lose the oversight over all the pictures. So what I tend to use is, while I'm out photographing, whenever I encounter a super nice situation, for example, a bird takes off and I know that I'm ready and I take some pictures, or there is a fight going on, after the situation I quickly go into the pictures and select basically the best pictures there. Just by a press of a button I can mark them with, for example, 5 stars, and when I import them to Lightroom or Capture One, I immediately have those 5 stars as well. So when I delete all the pictures, before I delete them, I just check, do I have some unselected pictures with 5 stars, and that's kind of a safety net for me, and I can just more easily delete pictures, because I know if everything goes wrong, I still have that backup that I marked the best pictures pretty much.
I also like the setting. If I'm in the end of the day, I want to show a friend like my best images of the day, I can use the filtered playback that you can also program to the press of the button. It's in the, I mean, both of these functions are in F3, where you can customize your buttons for playback. And then you can basically just say that you only want that the camera displays all images that have at least 1 star or 5 stars or whatever.
So I think the next function is also quite helpful for you, right?
Yes, so because I shoot mostly with Canon cameras, and when I use Nikon cameras the first time when I picked them up, I realized that they're kind of focusing in the wrong way. This means the way I turn the focusing ring on Nikon is pushing it to infinity, and to Canon it pushes it to the near focus distance, or the other way around, depending on which direction you turn. And there is actually a setting that you can change the direction of focus, and that's really useful if you come from Canon or another manufacturer that has the different rotation direction.
So just as a note, I think it's f6.
Okay, thank you. I think what's very important here is to only use it if you have all set lenses, because if you use still the AFS lenses, I think none of them or very
Yeah,
few
'cause
are.
most of them are still mechanically focusing, so then it's not able to change that.
And this would be a nightmare if, depending on the lens, you focus in a different direction.
So the last tip that we have is to activate the RGB histogram in the playback options in the menu system. So if you have, for example, a bird that has a quite contrasting plumage, let's say, for example, a gray tit or a kingfisher, they have like these white spots near the beak. So basically, if you expose the picture pretty much correctly, I mean, if you look at the histogram and it looks super nice, like there is this normal curve pretty much.
Especially if it's small in the frame, the bird.
Yeah, exactly. Then if you then zoom into like these white spots, you kind of realize that sometimes they can quite quickly overexpose, right? Just because they're pretty much hidden in the whole frame. I mean, you have so many pixels that are right or correctly exposed, but just not these bright spots. So what I do here is basically activate this RGB histogram, and then I can zoom in to like these spots, and the RGB histogram is basically always
active, kind of, even if you magnify the image. Yeah, I actually didn't know about this setting before, so I just used the overexposure warning or the blinkies, but I was always annoyed that with Nikon, if you zoom in, they basically disappear. But now I have a workaround that I will test probably tomorrow when I'm using the Z8 of it. We hope that these tips were helpful for you. If you want to learn more about the autofocus system for Nikon Z cameras, please check out our ebook. We linked it below. And if you have more tips that we missed, then please let us know in the comments. And as well, if you have any questions that you would like to ask us.